yeah, you know, there's been different times where it'll just be me and Michael. Then there'll be other times where he has other friends over too. That's what, like what Brett said, it's just a slumber party. We just have a lot of fun.
And you know, I've slept in the same bed as Michael. It's just you watch cartoons, you fall asleep. You know, it's just a friendship. And I know he would never do anything to hurt my brother. He's the nicest guy you've ever met.
Alright, so at 9 years old, things are starting to happen for you?
Yeah, we moved to America, and Michael helped me out in the beginning, put me in a couple of his videos, and that helped me get like a dance agent and that sort of thing. And so I would start dancing in other people's videos, and then got a theatrical agent, started doing commercials and like guest episodes in Full House and shows like that. And when I was, I think, 11, I got in a rap group, a rap duo, me and this other kid, and we ended up being signed to Sony Records and did an album there. And that's what sort of got me interested in music production. One of the best things I ever had was my teachers, actually, which was my mother, my grandmother, and Michael. And the things that they taught me was, if there was anything that I wanted, they taught me how to visualize. I think the most important thing for kids is to really figure out what they want, realize that anything is possible. So don't hold back in your dreams. Always shoot as high as you possibly can, but be detailed about it.
And you started as a youngster dancing with Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
Going to the ring.
Yeah.
Are you still friendly with Michael?
Yeah, we still talk every couple months, catch up.
You do, really?
Yeah.
Well, what's he like?
What's he like? He's a good guy.
He's a good guy?
Yeah.
Show me where he touched you. Nothing ever,
he touched you,
nothing ever like that? No nonsense, no shenanigans?
No, but it's like, you know, as long as people don't forget, you know, how talented he is and what he's done for the music industry. Think whatever you want about him, but you can't deny his talent. Yeah.
What's the most misunderstood thing about Michael Jackson, do you think, that you know him? Probably a number of things.
That I don't know, that anybody that lives that life is not going to be your average dude. You know what I mean? In the simple ways, I mean. Yeah. You know, you live that kind of life and that sort of fame from 5 years old. You're not going to go about your everyday like everybody else because you've never lived a life like everybody else. So how would you know how to do that? Exactly. So, and I think people take those simple things and turn them into something, you know, 10 times, 100 times more strange than they are.
One of the things I noticed about you, and this goes back to why I said you were a stand-up guy, we covered the trial, and you were one of the few people to stick up for him. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that was, and why was it important for you to stick up for him?
Because he's always been a friend to me. That's what you do for friends, you tell the truth. You know? Yeah, I can't speak for him, but it would be an absolutely painful thing for anybody to go through. And then there's obviously such a huge connection between Michael Jackson and MTV and really starting this real music video generation on MTV. I mean, Michael was really the king of that. So I like all of those connections, and obviously my connection with Michael and all of that coming together is kind of just one of those serendipitous things where all the elements have come together. So I'm excited for a lot of reasons to be a part of this. In general, with Michael, just had a wonderful relationship. I learned so much from him as an artist and as a kind human being. And it's my goal to try and just continue as much as I can in my own little world. We talk so much about him as the pop legend, which is important, but it's nice to really remember that he was a man, that he was a father. And that's what it's really about, is a father and his children. And he was a wonderful dad. And, you know, at least they had the time with him that they did. But I'm starting on Cirque du Soleil Michael Jackson show. So it's, you know, the equivalent of the Beatles' Love show that they have, or the Elvis show, but for Michael, which is you know, exciting and terrifying all at the same time because it's such a huge responsibility. But that was why I took it on. You know, Michael was such a huge part of my career and life. We were friends for 20 years before he passed, since I was 7. So it's an opportunity for me to give back a little bit to his legacy. It's such a big part of his legacy, and to make sure as much as I can that it's done right and that it really represents his essence. I never forgot one moment of what Michael did to me, but I was psychologically and emotionally completely unable and unwilling to understand that it was sexual abuse.
So what are you alleging that he actually did?
He sexually abused me from 7 years old until 14.
I know it's a difficult and personal question, but can you be more specific? Because you're accusing someone who is deceased of criminal activity.
Yeah.
So I need you to be a little more specific. Did he perform sexual acts on you? Did he force you to perform sexual acts on him? What was the nature of the abuse?
Yes, exactly what you said. He performed sexual acts on me and forced me to perform sexual acts on him.
When you testified in 2005, and you took the stand and you raised your right hand and you swore under oath that nothing sexual ever happened between you and Michael Jackson, why did you lie?
You know, I said what I understood, and I said what I was able to say. From 7 years old, from day one of the abuse, Michael told me that we loved each other and that this was love, that this was an expression of our love. And then you'd follow that up with, you know, but if you ever tell anyone what we're doing, both of our lives and our careers will be over. When I was 11, when the first trial was going on, the criminal investigation in '93, he would call me every day and role play and tell me the same sort of things, and also tell me then that if anyone ever thought that we did these things, any of these sexual things, that both of us would go to jail. There was no money, there was no you must lie. Michael, when he would talk to me before these things were going on, and he would call me every day as these things were happening, it was complete manipulation and brainwashing. It wasn't any sense of the truth on the phone. He would role play with me and train me for these scenarios.
And when I say his name to you this morning, what do you think of?
Heartbreak, pain, anger, and compassion. There's there's no excuse for what he did to me, and I believe many others, but he was a troubled man, and every effect has its cause. You know, the image that one presents to the world is not the whole explanation of who someone is. You know, Michael Jackson was, yes, an incredibly talented artist, and with an incredible gift. He was many things, and he was also a pedophile and a child sexual abuser.